Good afternoon once again. I'm Philip Cagunot. Today, we will discuss about securing digital presence in connected world. So somehow, this is connected to Sir Marlon's presentations earlier. So we are now connected anywhere. So for example, later you'll be booking your um, transport going home, right? So you need internet connection, you need an applications, and then you need a mobile phone, right? So we're now in the connected world. Connection, internet, in your applications are now a basic needs, right? Even your kids, they cannot have their day if they don't have connections to the internet, right? So let's start. Um, this is the study of protecting your assets into an external world. So that's what we call cyber risk management. This is also related to your digital risk protection. So according to Gartner's study, no, somehow yung DRP is like into this trend, medyo blurry. But according to that cycle in graph, no, this hyper cycle or hype cycle, they have 5 stages. If you have solutions or products, if they are just launching, they're into this curve, and then somehow they will reach its like limit, and then it will eventually go down. So the DRP is now here, and eventually it will go to its like stable stage. So this is how we'll look at the DRP current outlook. This is 2024 market study from Gartner. Okay. Yeah, this is our threat landscape, which is ever expanding. As we grow our business, right? If you're like a company and then you have more acquisition, you're expanding your threat landscape, right? Your threat landscape are like your network, your infrastructure, your cloud workloads, no? Those are threat landscape, okay? Those are your attack surface. So anything that connects to your network, whether they're applications, they're servers, infra network, security, those are attack surface. The applications that you use is on our attack surface, right? Whether they are internal or external, okay? So we have two kind of attack surface, internal and external. So this is your SOC analyst, normally your cybersecurity guy, no? And then they are monitoring everything from your data center, or you have cloud workloads or anything, any infra, right? So you have OT, IoTs, users, etc. And then you need to protect those assets. These are your assets at the lower part. And then you have this perimeter exposures. What do you expose at the perimeter side? So you can have like misconfigured assets. So that's why we have some tools that check your configurations. We have best practices, right? And you have these vulnerable applications that normally, which is normal. There's no perfect applications that you normally launch into production. There are some stages wherein you have UAT, you need to test before launching it, right? So there. And then after that, this is your outside world. And then in the outside world, the public, you can see their ransomware, right? There are fraudulent domains that impersonates, for example, your legit domain. Okay, for example, company ABC. And then it was impersonated by somebody. And then they use that for phishing or any other bad intentions, right? That is very common nowadays. If you check your email or your inbox, you can still receive, even though your company is so secure, you can still receive a phishing because some of your emails are being sold in the dark web or into outside world, right? And then somebody from those threat actors can send you back those unsolicited emails, and then they might be asking you for updating your username and password, right? So those are the things that we need to look at, especially in cybersecurity world. So it's our responsibility to protect our assets. Okay. What else? So these are the things that security teams are facing. So this is our standards or basic. So as you know, attackers have more resources. That is correct. They all have tools, sophisticated tools, advanced tools than us, who is defending the network, right? They can scan all the way the internet. How about our company? Do we have the tools that can scan internet or even your inside infrastructure? Sometimes no. You just use open source, right? But these hackers have more resources than us. Okay? Digital transformations is expanding, and we expand as well our attack surface. Right now, it's a very big attack surface that we have are in the cloud. So basically, cloud is a public access. So you need to secure that infrastructure, which is not ours. We're just riding into that infrastructure. So how are you going to defend? How are you going to protect that kind of assets, which is not ours, right? Unlike versus the one that you have on-prem, okay? But still, you still need to protect everything outside or inside your infrastructure. Security team are stretched, very common. Some company will just hire one security engineer, one network engineer, one administrator for infra. And sometimes they're stretched. They do the work like all in one, okay? Or network and security team is just one team. Sometimes they're just two. And then they do all monitoring, troubleshooting, and everything. What if they added another task, which is SOC? SOC is more about triage, threat hunting, remediation, incident response, and so on and so forth. Matutulog ba yan? Hindi na, right? So, very common yung problem about security skills gap and then lack of manpower. And the damage to the brand, which is brand impersonation. This is very common. Especially our target here are usually the students or people that are not so aware of security awareness, right? They can easily be deceived, correct? It's like they're showing a legit web page, like a bank, for example, Bank ABC, and then they'll be asking you to update your username and password, and then boom, there. So, and then they will complain to the banks that their account was hacked, but it was personally hacked because they're not aware of this is not a legit coming from their own bank. So these are the most commonly challenges facing by our security teams. As here, ISOG is more about cybersecurity. So I assume everyone here in the room are coming from a security team, right? Okay. I'll just show you some definitions of what digital assets are. So basically, these are anything that is stored digitally, whether you have an on-prem storage or you have a cloud storage. Okay, as long as it has a value, because, for example, this is a documents, and this documents is confidential. It lists down all your, let's say, policies in the company, and then it was exposed, right? So this can be an asset, a video or an audio, websites or spreadsheets that contains your numbers or calculations or whatever mathematical computations that you have. These are what we call assets, okay? And this is the thing that we need to protect, right? Once these are exposed, so you cannot get back, and then they'll be sold to the dark web. Yeah, understanding the risk posture. So, as you all aware, this is the cyber kill chain, which was originated by Lockheed Martin, the one that's doing the aerospace for NASA. So they started that, okay? So we have these steps, actually 7 steps. So from reconnaissance up to the actions wherein the hackers or attackers can already gain access to your let's say infrastructure or your applications or whatever assets that you have. No, so with that, from the reconnaissance alone, you will be discovering that your assets are publicly sold or publicly available. But you cannot do that unless you have a correct or perfect or whatever tools that you need to discover those things, right? For example, your email is, most of your company emails are being sold in the dark web because you have signed up something like a form before, or you sign up in a website asking for an email, no? So they can be sold. So these are the things that you can get those information from the outside world. So you need to get an attack surface management, a brand protection, which can protect your, let's say, domain or web page, like social media's web page, no? At least you can discover that somebody is impersonating that. So you need a tool to discover if it is you have the same company name, but they just replace of like typo squatting, things like that. Okay. And adversary-centric, you have to integrate a threat intel so that you can have a faster response to your tools, and then you can remediate. So these are the 3 tools that is part of digital risk protection solutions, no, for your security in the external surface or internal surface attacks. How do we, let's say, for example, do an internal and external attack surface? So usually, from step 1, we discover an assets. If they are being sold outside or in the dark web, and then we analyze and classify if these assets are valuable or not. If it is, they are not valuable, and then, well, we don't care. But if it is valuable, and then why was it exposed? So it was a leakage, right? Okay, and then we prioritize remediation based on active threats. And then lastly, remediate based on prioritize and recommend. Again, and it's going to be a loop cycle, and it repeats. If you have, like, you repeat that every month or quarter, it depends on your security policy. Okay? This is the same for external. So this is what you are going to do for your external threat attacks. This is your brand protection solutions, wherein you can discover if you have executive monitoring, let's say, for example, the email of your C-level. No? So they can track that as well. Domain, if they are impersonating your domain. Rogue applications, these are rampant in the mobile world, no? So mga mobile applications, right? So they can, let's say, imitate your applications. You have the same brand, you have the same logo, but the server is different. So you might connect to that, and it's a rogue applications. Social media, phishing, so these are the things that you need to look at if you are protecting your brand. Protecting your brand meaning company name, logos, and everything. So this is a tool that you can look at. And then lastly, the adversary-centric intelligence. This is an ACI part of the solution. So this incorporates or integrates the threat intel. No? So from monitor and collect, and then you can assess. And of course, you can do remediation by doing actionable intelligence. And these tools can be integrated to your existing security solutions. Like if you have firewalls, we can do API to your SOAR. Anyone familiar with SOAR? If you have SIM for collecting logs and correlating, you have DAS for your application security scanning. And then lastly, you can also integrate that to any third-party security solutions. Okay, so there are integrations of this DRP if ever you have this existing solutions in your company. All right. So lastly, what customer says about this DRP, they can now simply allows you to find potential stolen credentials in the dark web. So probably your email sometimes is exposed as well with username and password once you scan the dark web. And then they can cover more potential attack using DRP to monitor brand and executive impersonator. Okay? And lastly, they were able to identify that they have these assets that they don't know, which is existing. And because we have scanned the external surface attacks, we have scanned dark web, we can identify that we have that kind of like assets no, in the dark web. And then lastly, why DRP? We just need to know that how do we understand that we have exposed assets? So we have to have at least a correct tool to scan those, no? Because if we don't have that tool, we will not be able to get those things, right? And then do you have the resources to remediate? Do you have a right skill set to perform this? Unless you have a right tool with automated functionalities. Do you have visibility? So you have these tools to have visibility. And then how about tracking those vulnerabilities? So again, everything need the tool, which is the digital risk protection. It can be a tool. It can also be a service. Okay? And lastly, these are the use cases. This can be applied to your financial institution, especially because we're dealing with money, right? What else? We can also do this in construction and hospitality. So we can apply brand impersonation, attack surface management, and adversary detection. Okay? This can also be done to healthcare and schools, universities as well. And lastly, healthcare. Okay? So thank you. If you want to know more about digital risk protection service or solutions, we have NetSec, our company or partners in doing this service. So we also have booth, and then there, no, if you have questions, just let us know and we will discuss with you. So thank you so much and good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Philip. Let me share with you what Philip has shared with us. He said here, we are now in a connected world. Our threat landscape is ever expanding. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you will agree with that. And he also mentioned attack surfaces, internal exposure and external exposure. He also mentioned that there have been challenges. Attackers have more resources. They have, of course, digital transformation is expanding attack surface. Of course, we have security teams gap and damage to brand perception. All right. And he also shared with us solutions, which is actually great. We have attack surface management, brand protection, adversary centric intelligence. So once again, thank you so much, Philip Cagunot.